Agency Pod round 9, whatever. Welcome, people. Charles Cormier here, CEO Top Leads, Trevor, Crowd Tamers, CEO, founder, whatever. What I was about to say, Trev, is that we've been thinking about the branding of this pod for quite some time, but I have some pretty interesting domain names for you. We should always have like a section which is like, what domain names did you bought recently? And you could give me your take on that. I bought Hypermote. I bought GPT Yep, GPT Mad, .com, right? I bought. I'd have to pull them out, but basically we could use some of these. I have a bunch for the pod, POD. There's a lot of domains available. The other day I was even thinking, like, why do we have to pay for domain? And the law is quite simple, is that everyone would kind of claim property on everything. It's pretty much the same reasoning behind Musk putting the $10 Twitter Blue per month. But I'm picturing a blockchain/AI system that would grant the domain name to whoever people agree that they own this because they added the most value to humanity. Or I find it quite ridiculous, Silicon Valley owning all the best domain names and just putting a good domain name on a startup that doesn't have any fucking thing to do with the actual domain name. That doesn't seem accurate to me. What do you think about that intro?
I mean, there's people who buy real estate when it's cheap always profit when demand increases, right? That's what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
And it's the same true physical real estate, same is true people buying domains on the .com, TOD, whatever. Unless you owned all the good .coms that you could then intermediate for, no,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to make that play work.
Mhm. I put the topics in the doc if you want to
I
check,
see.
but tell me about Baby GPT and AutoGPT. I checked it real quick. I can see somewhat the interest there. I can see the hype as well, which is like, danger. Don't let your AI out. No, fuck you. Like, dude, don't go with that. I found that and one quick consideration, if I let you speak about it, is that scientists and nerds are so bad at social, so bad. And also at reasoning about like human things. Um, these guys, they spend most of the time just like coding and like interacting with something that's not human. And then and I mean, I value their opinion. I value everyone's opinion, just some other less than others. But I find that they're really poor at making any prediction that has to do with social stuff.
I think once you add in complex group dynamics, no one can predict well, right? That
Yeah.
said, uh, I'm reminded that when they did the first nuclear test in the 1940s,
Mhm.
30s, sorry, 1930s, of can a nuclear bomb be detonated, they estimated about a 1% chance that setting off a nuclear bomb would make all of the atmosphere on Earth
Yeah.
combust. And they
Yeah.
went, let's do it anyway, right? 1% chance of killing humanity. And they went, sure, let's roll the dice. Um,
Mm.
I think of that sometimes as I consider what's going on with AutoGPT, Baby GPT.
Mm.
This I don't think is an extinction level event. I'm not even the slightest bit there, but I 100% think someone somewhere is going to hold in their hands something that they think has a actual chance of being an extinction level event, and they'll still be like, yeah, let's roll the dice, right? Because that's what we do as humans. We're furless monkeys, or at least slightly less furry monkeys, and we're really bad at thinking about the long-term knock-on effects of our decisions. With that said, what I see with Baby GPT, what I see with Auto GPT, is self-reference, self-programmability, self-improvability, and interrogation in GPT starts to make this a extremely powerful tool. You asked me before we started to record, hey Trevor, I thought about installing this on my computer. Should I, or is the ROI not there? I think if you want to be in AI space, you must, because this is, it's like getting access to I don't know, COBOL or Fortran in the early days of programming, where this is not what we will all use, but it is the first example of what we will all use.
Right. Okay.
And
Oh, you've
learning
made
that
a
now, will be valuable.
Made a good argument there. Send me the install guide. Like me, it's all about energy, and yet it needs to be easy for my brain. Although like I can work that muscle of like, yeah, getting out of my comfort zone and blocking 1 hour in my calendar to like go deep. The extinction thing first, the atmosphere combusting, I think they prove it didn't make any scientific sense, but maybe like burning a hole through the atmosphere, that could make more sense. I still don't think it could happen with the current laws of physics. Us
No,
humans
no,
were so
it in the end can't happen. But when they didn't know, right? They didn't have computers to model it. They
yeah.
just had calculus, and they thought like, there's a chance, but F it, let's
Well,
go, YOLO,
someone
right?
said that there was a chance under their theories, right? And if their theory
Yeah,
is not valuable, then what is the value to all of that, And I
right.
think it's the same with AI. For the extinction thing, like I had various podcasts today. It's my podcast day, and I discuss about like the existential risk and so forth. AutoGPT, I don't think it will be what will, if there's a danger, I don't think that will be it, because an AGI, let's talk about Fermi for a moment. Like there's aliens out there. They're just not interacting with us because they're too smart, or they're not motivated by it. They don't have incentives, or they surpassed incentives. They don't even factor these, just like we don't care about an ant mating. Like we just don't. So bottom line, like they decide to not end us or this simulation or whatever that is. So I think an AGI will quickly evolve to that level of intelligence that it will just not want to eliminate us, or it won't be a thing. What I think is can be dangerous here is an evil GPT, an evil GPT, which is like under the hands of a terrorist that is super frustrated. He's been raped and whatever, like lots of dark energy in that person, and the laws of karma, and the laws of thermodynamics. He wants to put that energy back in the world, which seems like a rational thing to do. Now the question is, can he end the world with that? I don't think so, because generally speaking, evilness is not scalable. Evilness is dumb. Also, it's really low IQ. So generally speaking, I mean that's a weird and broad law that I'm saying right now, but I don't think that they can end the world. I think like, yeah, especially if it's like real AGI, I think the algorithm will even evolve in itself to understand that this is bullshit and this is not good, depending on what data you feed it, right? But then it wouldn't qualify as an AGI. An AGI is like, oh, I know everything and I understand everything, and
But
yeah,
here's what I would offer to you.
yeah.
I don't think we're going to make Skynet. I think we're smart enough to not make Skynet. But if you were able to say, right, we've got the ability to render almost anything you can imagine into visual form.
Mhm.
And now we're starting to play around with, you can have conversations with a computer that sounds compellingly enough to be like a human.
Mm.
And an extinction level event could very well just be, what if we create an AI interface to fantasy world where I don't have to interact with the real world anymore? I can exist purely in the fantasy world, and then why would I get married? Why would I have kids?
Mhm.
We would just all stop, right?
Sure.
Like that's an example of no evilness, no ill will, nothing bad
Yeah,
happening
but what's
there.
bad
We've
about
just
that is the
optimized
real
our life.
question.
What's
What's
bad
bad
about it?
about
Well,
that? Like the guy playing World of Warcraft, which was me a couple years ago, and there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of people like that. They're just hooked on their chair and they don't do any harm in the world. They don't produce much value either, right? But maybe
but
that's
my
that's
point
where
is,
they're
if
meant to be.
enough people do that, you end up with the destabilization that makes, I mean, one, the AGI itself will not be able to run if we don't have electricity for it. But two,
Mm.
just it's possible that humanity will slouch its way into oblivion, not with a bang, but
a
a whimper.
part a part of humanity, and yeah, with zero cost energy, yet like the AI will have fuel pretty much forever. um that's coming pretty soon. We could discuss about that later, but a part of humanity will go that way, and it's pure laws of evolution. Again, you and I were alphas, like we want more, and we're like kind of okay, this and that. um but and that will be a part of people. And yeah, you can picture like in the movies kind of, because don't get any other better framework, that we're going to take starships and we're going to conquer other stars, and yeah, like a bunch of people are going to live in a simulation. That's, to me, that's 100% sure. People are going to have headsets strapped to their head, and or even better, like something synthetic in their brain, and they're not going to live in this world of ours. And this is okay. It's just a reality that's tough to fathom, especially as with an alpha brain like we have right now. But I think eventually it will become somewhat normal. We've got like 2 minutes left. Do you want to talk about Auto GPT and Baby GPT just a tad more?
Sure. So the interesting thing I'm seeing here is, because it is in some ways self-correcting, you can watch different agents in AutoGPT interact with themselves, both cooperatively and adversarially.
Okay.
And when you combine that then with, like, you can say a chat GPT, hey, make me a cool picture of an alien. And it'll give you something. You say, make it more photorealistic. And it will go do that. And then you go, how do I make it look? I want more pop, right? And you can give this level of garbage instructions to it, and it will, one, interact with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or DALL-E or whatever, and two, it will interpret. It will ask itself, and you can ask it to show what it's thinking. It'll ask itself and then present something. And if you're like, that's not right, okay, I'll try again. You can see this. The one real problem with computer human interfaces is the fuzziness around human thought versus the delineation of programmatic thought. And with
Mhm.
agents and internal improvement, you get GPT now start to be able to try and map itself to every individual. Because when I say make it look cool, I have, maybe I'm thinking of, solar punk or atom punk, other people thinking of steampunk or whatever, right? Like their look is different, and each individual endpoint will end up being customized.
Yeah, so like it would be nice to have it scrape all of your data. And the question is, I mean, there's like an exciting aspect to that question. There's also a dystopian aspect to that question, is when they will start prompting us, you know? And the exciting aspect is like they will prompt us to actually do actions to make money, and that will make shit tons of money with that, because they'll give out good advice pretty much all the time to some of us, right? Because not all of us will use that tool. That's why the unequal redistribution of wealth and the people in the simulation vs people just conquering like us, most probably, up until we understand that conquering is not the way. If there is. And the dystopian aspect is obviously like when they will, yeah, just tell us what to do, you know, because they're that smart and we're not. Um, let's do another pod. Maybe we should increase the frequency of those, because yeah, like we're always short, and especially I'm like most often late. But any conclusions to that pod, Trev?
Sure. I think I was seeing Harvard Kyle talking about this. Right now, AI is moving too fast. You cannot sensibly build a product that is AI unless you are open AI or this sort of institution.
Correct.
Take your product, take your thing, take your agency, and supplement it with AI. That is the successful path for at least the next year or so.
Okay, so just interacting with GPT, or you mean straight up connecting to OpenAI's API and then building off it, or both?
Yeah, don't build a product where the whole purpose is it is an AI. Rather say, how do I take a thing and put AI into
Got
it to
it.
optimize?
As an
That's
agency,
going to be
right?
more successful. As an agency, that's what we talk about. Also, as a startup, if you're making a startup.
Love it. Good conclusion.